conference will now be recorded.
Okay, there we are. This is going to turn into a party yet. Star has now joined us. Danielle is with us. Mr. Ochterbeck. So that's awesome. Welcome, everybody. This is the September 12th, 2025 edition of Coaching Call. I mentioned to Cheryl before most of y'all jumped on that the announced topic of today, efficiency in our business. I wasn't quite sure if I would drive everybody away with that announced topic or if some would join. So I'm delighted that you guys have jumped on for this conversation today. But before we get into doing more with less, let's find out what's going on in your business to encourage each other or help each other with any sticking points. Welcome, Mandy. Good to have you here as well. What is happening in your business this week of note? And Susan, I'm going to give the microphone back to you since I think we might have cut you off early a moment ago. What's going on?
Well, I was just stating that since now I'm with the Adam Olson team, I've gotten quite a few leads, and I'm actually closing on a house next week. I am showing a buyer on Sunday, pre-approved, ready to go. And then I've also got a property listing, and hopefully it will turn into two since he owns two houses. And then my husband got me a referral for a piece of land out in Cold Springs. So I'm working on that as well.
Great.
And then, of course, I still have my new Waverly property. So if anybody wants some acreage and a mobile home, let me know. I really would love to sell that.
I love it. I love it. So if y'all don't know, about I would say 2 weeks ago, it might have actually been 2 months, but sometime recently, Susan joined the Adam Olson team, and she did that specifically to get the leads that team provides, and it sounds like those leads are paying off. So
They are, but I also want to say that because I am working full time, they offer to help with the marketing. They help do the listing. They put out the signs. They put out your lock boxes. And to me, right now, that would help me out tremendously.
yes. So that's actually a great introduction to the topic of today about efficiency. So we'll circle back to that in a few minutes, how a team can help create efficiencies in your business. Cheryl, what's going on in your business this week?
I have two listings. I have a home out in Magnolia and a lot in downtown Houston that I'm trying to
Okay.
sell, probably for investors. And I'm working with two buyers.
Okay.
If
Excellent.
anyone is interested in hosting an open house out in Magnolia, the house is at 600,000 off of 1488. I'll be hosting it Saturday, but if anyone's interested in hosting a home Sunday, just reach out to me and I can give you the info.
And what's the list price on that one, Cheryl?
It's $599.
$599. Excellent. So since she brought up the subject, I've got three listings. One of them in the Falls at Imperial Oaks, two of them in Windsor Lakes that are available for open houses. All three are vacant. So if you have interest in that, let me know. I'm going to be putting my open houses into the MLS right after this call, and I'd be happy to schedule them for you as well.
Excellent.
Okay, Cheryl, two buyers, two listings. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, remember when I spoke to you the other day about the buyer that I had that was wanting certain verbiage on the contract and stuff
Yes.
because they offered the asking price and I get it. The listing agent said, basically we're not going to give you carte blanche. Let's do the inspections and go from there. My buyers backed out because they offered asking price that they should be able to get anything they want.
Yes.
And
Okay.
it was a difficult discussion, but at the end of the day, they backed out.
Okay. So I'm a little confused, Cheryl. They
Yeah.
offered full price. They expected to get everything they wanted. I don't know what it was that everything they wanted. What was the sticking point?
Well, that's what was bizarre is not when I was speaking with you, 99% of what their concerns were on the would be caught in the inspection report. But there was a couple things like the microwave built in and stuff because of the age, and they were ratty looking. They
I got
want
it.
they
I
they
got it.
wanted confirmation that everything would be replaced because or fixed 100% because
Okay.
they offered asking price. And I tried to explain, it's negotiable and you prioritize what the findings are and you go from there. You don't just demand. But
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
work.
I've had buyers send me the inspection report
Yeah.
and say, fix everything.
That's kind of basically what they were saying. And I was like, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, those deals never go through.
No.
So as a buyer's agent, you really do have to coach in advance, even before the inspection. You want to
Yep.
set expectations. This inspector is going to find 100 things wrong with this home because there's 100 things wrong with every home. The home you're living in right now has got 100 things wrong with it. That doesn't mean that you have to fix everything for it to be beautiful and functional. So when we
Agreed.
get this inspection report, we're going to review it carefully and identify the key
Key.
areas that truly impact the proper functioning of the home. And that's what we're going to ask for.
Yeah, because I told her, I said, even if you buy a brand new home, you're going to have that same scenario.
Yeah. The worst inspection I ever got, and this is in 30 years of real estate, was on a
Was it?
brand new home in the Woodlands.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
horrible. It was unbelievable what they were trying to get away with. All right. Thank you, Cheryl.
Uh,
What else is going on? Star, I see you got your camera on and you got your smile on. What's happening in your business this week?
Yes. So this week I have a new listing that I'm going to be putting up hopefully by the end of the day. I'm waiting on pictures, and then I'm gonna do the open house for Saturday, and then Sunday's my birthday. I don't work on Sundays, but I work on Sundays. And then I do have another listing. It's a rental listing in Rocheron, Texas, and I closed on a couple flip properties this week.
Okay.
And then I got one under contract as well on last week. So
So the
that's
flip
my business.
properties, are these your personal flip properties or were you representing the seller?
Representing the seller. I mean,
Okay.
representing the buyer.
Oh, okay. All right. Very nice.
Mhm.
Well, that sounds like a productive week. All right. Anybody else want to jump in? Anything of note happening in your business that would either encourage us or prompt a learning lesson for the rest of us? Yes, go ahead, Billy.
Well, just jumping back on the open house thing, I don't know if that's part of this, but we do have, my wife's going to be hosting an open house in Panorama. So if
Great.
anyone wants to stop in and spend some time with her, we don't have a buddy for her yet, but it's our remodel listing. It's 100 Highwan Drive, and I think she's scheduled it Saturday for 11 to 1.
And this is a property that you are flipping?
Yes, it's a property that we flipped. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got high hopes and expectations for you on that one. So,
Yeah, me too.
yeah, I bet. Yeah, I mean that's going all in when you're not just representing investors, but you become one and
Yeah,
identify the property, buy it, budget your repairs, get them done, put it on the market, and see what happens. So,
yeah.
but the beautiful thing is, Billy, how many of these have you done personally?
This is the biggest one by far.
Okay.
I've been cutting my teeth. I've had about maybe 15 clients where I help them get their houses ready on a budget.
Yes.
So I was using that as kind of a proving ground. This one, not going to be very profitable. It took too long and too much budget, learned some lessons,
Yep.
and too
Yep.
big of a scale. The next one will be a lot lower. I recommend staying about 300 and lower if you're going to flip.
Yes, yes, I would agree with that. So if you decide to do this, you probably should just figure your first couple of deals are probably not going to be money makers. You don't want to lose money. Don't allow that. But almost always first-time flippers go in and they overdo it on the
Well,
renovations.
the biggest thing other than budget was time. If it's going to be any bigger scale other than cosmetic, have a project manager. I had a partner who was supposed to be the project manager and he did not do it. So I had to do it, and it was way too much time involved.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very good point, Billy, because time is money on a flip. You're covering those notes, and it's quite expensive because typically they're short-term loans. All right, y'all go help Billy sit out there with his wife. You can learn about flipping and there's safety in numbers. So yeah, we love having multiple people at our open houses. Okay, Bob, did you want to add anything to this discussion? We saw you reach for the mic, but I don't
There
think
we
you
go.
reached six. There we go. Yeah.
No, not really. I've got this listing that's way overpriced, and marketing it, and the responses, pretty much lack of responses, indicate that. And they're already, I think, understanding that it's not just kind of what you think it should be worth, but it's what actually the comps show. So hopefully we can get it more reasonable so we can get it turned, because they've already put money down on a new construction home. So that deal is kind of pending there too. And then I drove to Houston yesterday, a lovely trip, about an hour and 45 minutes, to meet with Miss Sue on a condo she looked at. But it
Right.
was worth it because I wanted to meet her face to face. Just a sweet young lady, and very, very excited. And so, we'll be working on that with her. But I mean, that's kind of the gist of my week, I guess you could
Okay.
say.
All right. So Bob referred to Sue. That is a client that came to us as a referral from another agent. And that same referring agent sent me another deal a couple of days ago that it's probably on the market now. I've seen if Michael got it up last night or not, but another listing. So when we get into our efficiency discussion, having some key referral partners is going to be massive. I would say this year, and I've been very open, this is my best year ever in real estate. I'm still on track to make Icon. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off in the last couple of months, October and November, but so far, so good. I would say 30% of my business this year has come from referral from other real estate agents. That's what I mean, from other real estate agents. So there is, and I launched my real estate career as a referral based business back in 2013. That's when I began selling in the Woodlands. And my number one source of business was referrals from other agents. So just keep that in mind. It's very efficient when another agent sends you a lead, because that's not a Zillow lead. It's not an online lead. It's not a social media lead. That's a real person. That's you're getting a warm handoff. Star?
Speaking about Montgomery County, if anyone wants to host an open house for me, it's for $434,990. It can be used as a hobby form. Um, they have a chicken coop on there, and the owner, he actually makes money, a business for selling eggs. I think that's pretty cool. It's sitting on 1.5 acres, close to Valley Ranch Town Center, you guys. We've been on the market 18 days. It's a unique property. So if
Yeah.
you want modern, custom built, modern charm mixed with country living.
Okay. Wow. Star up in Montgomery County. Wow, you're throwing a wide net these days. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, Billy?
Yeah, what's the address and what's the acreage?
It's 1.5 fenced and gated acres, and the address is 20281 North Hillcrest, Hillcrest, Porter, Texas.
Order. Okay, thanks.
and it is occupied.
Okie dokies. All right. Danielle, you want to jump in on this? What's your week been looking like this week?
Um, I am still trying to work on everything. At this point, I feel like I'm in a standstill. Robin,
Yes.
she's my mentor, and she's helping me. I did attend a open house with her this
Yes.
past weekend in Conroe.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got to see, how that works or whatever. I'm still trying to figure out everything on horror and trying to get the Bow Trail apps up and
Bowl
running.
Trail.
Trying to
Yes.
figure
Yes.
out how to do all of that. So I'm going through all of that this week. Everything is just confusing because I'm having to learn how to do and install all of that on my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so you're not on your own, Danielle. There's lots of support for you, including, let me say, I'm hosting a couple open houses tomorrow. You'd be welcome to come join me. And between clients, I'll be glad to help you get set up on Bold Trail or HAR or any of those other tools.
Okay.
So just think about that. I'm probably going to do two open houses in 2 hours because they're only a couple blocks from each other. And I'm probably going to do one like 12 to 1 and the other 1 to 2. So it wouldn't be an all day thing, just a couple hours, and you'd have exposure to two homes. So just reach out to me after this call if you want to, and we can connect and I'll get you all the details.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Yeah. But
Okay.
we want to get you up and running and productive because one of the truths of real estate is that reserve funds are not endless.
Hmm.
And you need
um,
to start making money quickly in this. You got to get the pipeline pumped, stuffed pretty quickly, or it's not going to work. Even though you might
right.
be a great agent in the long term, that's why most agents don't make it to the long term is they run out of funding. So we want to get you productive quickly.
Right. So right now I don't have any point A or point B or anything. So it's like, what's next?
Okay. Okay. Well, I would love to
Yeah.
spend some time with you, and we'll
Okay.
get you in the game. All right, Sir Kevin, come and tell us what's up.
Good morning, team. How we doing? How we doing? Oh boy, we got all the rock stars on here. I was driving, I couldn't see y'all earlier, but all is well. I have a certain amount of activity, which is good, and I have a question. So I will lead with the question. And the question is, I have a new home construction, an independent builder in Houston, building one of those Houston type homes, and they have not been 100% forthcoming in fixing the things found on our third party inspection. We're all set to close next Wednesday, and we have some things with the roof, and they say, well, we'll talk about that on the final, the final walk, and I'm like, so we may get to a situation where we're saying to them, no, we don't want to close on the home until it's 100% corrected. What leverage and situations do we have? Because it's a typical, it's the builder's contract, it's the builder's paper, and obviously everything is in their favor. So explain to me what my options are. How hard can I fight for my client here in this scenario? That's the wisdom I'm looking for.
So I've got something to say, but let me just open the mic here first. Anybody else want to weigh in on that who's got some experience working with builders in this situation?
I would say that once you sign the documents, it's your home. And if it's a national builder, whatever, they've got the 1 year warranty, wall to
Yeah.
wall, etc.
It's a
Small,
local builder. It's a small local builder called
yeah,
Titan
small.
Homes. They build inner loop and stuff, so they're a smaller builder.
Yeah, I'm just saying if it is buyer beware, signer beware, um, I would convince my client to wait until it's right
Yeah.
before you sign and close on it.
So
That's
our
my
leverage is the pen and the check, and simply say, sorry, we're not signing until this is done. It's pretty simple. We don't care what clause you're looking at. We just aren't signing until this is done. I kind of hear that, right?
Yeah, because you have to look at the long term. You don't want them purchasing a home and then trying to deal with these issues, they're supposed to be enjoying their new home, and you don't want. It's not worth it for that.
Oh, agreed. I'm just and I'm simultaneously telling my client, look, I'm making a big deal about all these issues with the builder. I don't want you to be panicked about them. I'm not being duplicitous, but don't panic about some of these things just because I'm
Yes.
making a big deal about it. But we're on a MO where I'm telling the builder, we are not signing until it's 100% complete. Let's make sure we understand that. You can schedule whatever you want, but until
Right.
it's done. And so, Frank, your wisdom.
Well, let me give Billy a chance. I can see he's eager to jump
Oh
in. Then
yes,
I'll,
thank you, Billy. Yes, sir.
Well, for one thing, even though it's a small builder, make sure they've got at least a 210 warranty,
They do.
and
Yeah, thank you.
stick to your
Yeah.
guns. Get it done before you close. You may have to do, did you do a repair amendment that says specifically states the items they're going to punch? Kind of like a punch list?
We did not do an amendment after the initial third-party walkthrough, but we shared it with them and walked it with them and told them they needed all these things done, and then now I'm scheduling a re-inspection with the third party, and they're saying, we don't usually do that, and I go, yeah, I understand that, but we're doing it because this is not the usual. This is this house, and so we don't have an amendment, but we are going to re-inspect and look at these items again and confirm they're either done or not done to our
Yeah, get
satisfaction. We'll still do
it
them.
done before they sign. Get it done before they sign. Because
Yeah,
afterwards, it's going to be even harder.
yeah. Thank you, Billy.
Star, did you want to jump in here?
I was just gonna say to just have it listed and have your, buyers go ahead and sign if they love the house. Is it cosmetic issues like, some missing shingles or whatever where they can't get the house insured? Um, and is the builder reputable? Like, did you guys do some research on them, like check out reviews and stuff like that? But if the
We are
client
we
loves
are
the house, I would go ahead and let them sign and just hold those builders or have them. You should have had them sign that amendment. But I'm gonna let Frank give his wisdom. That's just my perspective.
Okay. Okay. So, first of all, it's not unusual for there to be a punch list at closing. You go do the final walk, and everything is supposed to be done by the final walk. You do your initial blue tape, then you go do the final. Everything's supposed to be done. Invariably, you'll find something that's not. And so that's what the punch list is. We're going to go ahead and go to closing, but the builder commits to fixing these remaining items that were not done. And I'm okay with that as long as there was an intent to have them done by closing and they were discovered in the final walk. But if the builder is simply dragging their feet and not getting it done, then I would hold off because you have no leverage after closing. Now, one more caution. You want to read that builder contract carefully because they may have been in this situation many times before and put language into the contract that once they have an occupancy permit, you are required to close on the date of their choosing or face all these financial penalties. There are builders who have those clauses in the contracts for this exact reason.
right.
I would look and see if that's there. And if these issues are significant, then I would contact a real estate attorney to see what your options are. Like if there's truly a structural issue, if it's cosmetic, I'd go forward. If the roof is going to leak, then I would not close. But talk to an attorney to see what your rights are if there are some of those provisions in the contract.
Thank you. And remind me the name of the real estate attorney you recommend.
Gary Pate, Pate, is the guy that I typically use. Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. So to be clear, the issue that we're facing here is, roofs. The roof decking comes together at the top of the roof. If there's going to be no ridge vent, the decking pretty much touches itself, and then they have a normal cap shingle on that.
yeah,
If there's going to be a ridge vent, they leave those decking boards a few
yeah,
inches apart, and
right.
that you can get fingers in between them, but not your whole hand. And then the ridge vent comes along. And what we have on this roof, according to the inspector, is the ridge vent runs 90% of the distance but the gap is 100% of the distance. And so there's a distance at the end of each roof where the shingles are not 100% supported underneath. And a shingle has no
Yeah,
stiffness to it. In the heat of the sun, it will kind of shape whatever.
that's
And so
right.
that's the issue. And so it is a roof issue. It's not a leak, but it's
It's
we
just,
want it right kind of
no, I
thing.
agree.
So thank you for that.
Yep, that's significant.
Wonderful.
Okay. Well, we probably all learned something from
Wonderful.
that.
And
So thank you, Kevin, for putting that on the
great.
table. Let's
And team, I do so apologize that I can't stay with you on these, but I do watch the replays, and I'm so great. And thank you again, Frank, for doing these. And I got to run.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Take care.
Hasta,
Okay.
bye bye.
So I wanted us to have a conversation this morning about efficiencies in a real estate sales business. And the reason for that is that we all have aspirations of productivity and financial remuneration that go beyond what we're experiencing right now. Okay. We want to make more money. Is that the case? We want to sell more houses. We want to be more productive. We want a larger income. But I suspect if I asked and polled each of you, how much extra time do you have in your week to devote to productivity? Probably be very few positive responses. Most of us are operating pedal to the metal right now. We got our foot mashed on the accelerator. If we have any additional time whatsoever, we need a break. We need some rest. We need some vacation. We need to spend time with family. We need to go to the doctor's appointment. So there's typically in a real estate agent's life, there's not a lot of extra capacity time wise to increase productive activities. That being the case, we have to look at ways of leveraging time, money, skills, resources, other people, so that we can be more productive, more inputs without them coming personally from us. That's what efficiency means. It's getting more output for the same amount of input, or even less input and getting more output. But the idea is it's not a one-to-one trade-off. We put in an hour, we get an hour's worth of reward back. We want to put in an hour and get 2 hours worth of reward back. So there are ways of getting that type of leverage in a real estate sales business. This is a business in which some very bright minds over a long period of time have thought about this issue and created solutions. And I'll share some of my solutions, but I also want to hear from yours, hear from you about yours. But let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about lead generation. And I'm going to walk you through the whole operational model of a real estate sales career, but let's start at the beginning with lead generation. Are there ways that you have discovered of identifying people who have a real estate need, people that you can work with, buyers, sellers, landlords, tenants, investors, that generate bang for the buck? That you identify these people in some ways more easily than others, more quickly than others, more cheaply than others. Who wants to take that one? Cheryl's listening. She's not going to be the speaker on that one. And I'll just give you an example just to get the juices flowing. Some people get a lot of efficiency out of open houses. Okay, you invest a couple hours in an open house and you're generating buyer and seller clients. And these are people you would never have met otherwise. And if you have the type of personality that you can connect with people in that environment and build trust quickly, that can be a highly efficient way of finding new clients. Okay. As opposed to, let's just use a wild one, door knocking, for example, or cold calling. Um, you can spend all day doing that kind of stuff and wear yourself out physically and mentally. Whereas 2 hours at an open house, you're having fun, you're engaging, and you generate clients. Okay, so that's one way, and that's why I continue to host open houses, even though um, I'm pretty well set in terms of influx of buyers and sellers. I continue to do that because, again, it's another core belief, just like reserve funds are not endless. Another core belief I have is we must open the door every day to new relationships, because you can't depend on what happened in the past to be there for you in the future. You can't just assume that what has worked before is going to always work. And so, core belief, I'm opening the door to new relationships all the time. I got a lead on somebody Sunday. My wife had lunch with somebody after church. I was working. She had lunch with them. They have a real estate need. I called them that night. They did not respond until last night, Thursday night, left me a message, and we're going to connect today. We've agreed that we're going to talk this afternoon, and they need to buy and sell. Okay. So I never even heard of these people, but I'm pursuing them as if my business depends on it. Okay. So open the door every day to new relationships. Go for it. There's an example. Anybody else want to jump in on lead
Yeah.
generation?
Hey
Susan?
Frank, it's me. Well, you all know that most of my closings have come from open houses
Yes.
this, this past spring. So they do work. You just have to be consistent and do it every chance you get. And your signs are very important because I had my signs out on Louetta, which led me to a buyer.
Yep.
And so signs and putting as many signs as you can, not to me, I don't like the real small signs because people miss them, but I like the ones that are tall. It's got your face on it and it's all directional. And those are great ways to bring people into your open house as well.
Yes. So I
And
just,
on both, yeah, and Bowl Trail, like you can find, and I don't know, you may have already gone over this, but if you go, well, I'm used to KV Core, but if you go on there, you can pick an EXP house that you, or somebody's house, and you can, uh, what's it called? You can pay for it. Gosh, I just lost my train of thought. Um, Pay to get it noticed, and that's how I also got some of my clients. Um,
okay. So let me just summarize this real quick on open house. I introduced the subject of open house, but then Susan took that general idea into some very specific techniques, because you can host an open house and get very little out of it, have nobody show up. What she said there was a critical factor in greatly expanding the efficiency of an open house. Put out tons of signs, big ones with your picture and your name and your phone number, so that somebody driving by who doesn't have time to go to the open house but's been looking in that neighborhood can call you off that sign and say, I can't come now, but can I call you later? Can we see it later? So doing
It,
tons
it
of,
totally works, Frank. You know, I own Bender's Landing only
yes,
because I've had people call me and go, I see your sign with your picture. I live in Bender's. I see you out here all the time. And that's where I've gotten several of my leads.
yes, even if they don't come to the open
That's
house.
right. That's right.
All right, Jason, you want to jump in on this?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on that. My last buyer was the same way. I was feeling kind of lazy that afternoon and didn't feel so I have a big 12-foot flag that says EXP Open House. I didn't really feel like putting it out that day, just because it's a pain to put together. So anyway, long story short, I did that, and only because I did that, that's how I got my buyer on my last house that I
Absolutely.
put.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let me tell you something. The last time I put out my signs, they were stolen. So I have ordered and will be using today a trail cam. and I'm going to put this out on the road where I put my signs, because I have a feeling that somebody in our HOA, probably on the board, stealing my signs, even though they're not on HOA property. They're out in the median of the state highway. I think they're picking them up. So I'm going to record anybody who steals my signs this weekend, and I might just end up having to post that video on our HOA Facebook page. So we'll see. Let's see. I think Bob will jump in here, and then we'll get Susan. Go ahead, Bob.
For me, I think critical is building your sphere of influence.
Okay,
I
talk
think
about it.
Brian Buffini used to say, grow your sphere and market to your sphere. And there's a number of ways you can do that. First of all, you want your vehicle always. My first vehicle when I was started business, I had pinstriping done with my name and phone number, so I couldn't just remove a magnet. I mean, it was very
Yes.
professionally done, but it went everywhere I went. So yeah, I had to drive a little better, but it was. I had people wave at me as they drove by. You know, they wanted to talk to me or whatever.
Yes. Yes. I've
Um,
stopped
wear
people in
your
the parking lot like that before too.
yeah, wear your badge, your name badge, everywhere you go. People will stop you and be able to converse with them. And the other little trick that a lot of agents don't use, I think it's a pretty slick way to do it, is have you ever done a transaction with another agent and you close that transaction, and let's say you had the listing, you close the transaction. Well, now this buyer is no longer under a buyer's rep agreement.
That's right.
That buyer is fair pickings. You have their email address. You put them in your database and you start contacting them, and they
Yes.
go into your touch program. And pretty soon you're picking up somebody, because so many agents, once the deal's done, they forget about them, their clients. So you can really grow a nice sphere of influence and do some really nice business on that, because friends tell friends.
Yep, we call those the orphan clients,
Yep.
because we know by actual experience, once the deal is closed, that other agent has moved on, right? I mean, the vast majority of agents are not staying in touch with those clients, and people move much quicker than they think. They may have been the buyer of the house and they think that's their lifetime home. Well, I've lived in about 30 lifetime homes in my life, and my wife still gets itchy feet, and here we go 18 months later. So it happens. Was it Susan? I think you're up next, and then Cheryl. Go ahead, Susan.
I think I already talked, but
No.
I do want to say one thing. When you're at the open house, I do agree with Frank said, like when people come in, you don't know how they're gonna, you don't know that person. You just kind of want to blend in and how they're read their body language.
Yeah, build rapport. Yes,
Yeah, and that's very important because then you can just kind of be like them.
yes,
That's
yeah.
that's how I kind of do it.
That's an old sales technique called mirroring. If they come
Yeah.
in and they're a fast talker, guess what? You want to be a fast talker, because they're going to relate to you and feel comfortable with you. If they're slow and easy, you want to be slow and easy. You want to reflect the speed of their language, the pacing of the conversation. Look at their body language and reflect that in your. If they're leaning up a wall, you lean up against the wall. Okay, do the same thing, because people feel comfortable working with people like them. All right, Cheryl, then Billy. Cheryl?
I have several T-shirts printed out about ask for my phone number. I'm a real estate agent.
Oh, I
I
love
was at Home Depot the other day and this guy walked up to me and said, I need your phone number.
that. Oh, you didn't have it on the shirt. You just said,
No,
ask
no,
me.
no. I said, ask me.
That's beautiful. I've never heard of it that way before. That's great. Billy?
So Casey and I love open houses. We've been doing better than average ever since we started.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that we've learned, it's good to have our different personalities. So when someone walks in the door and they start talking about colors and the way it feels, they
Yes.
are Casey's. When they
Yes.
walk in with a spreadsheet and they look like they can't wait to get out of there, they're mine.
Yes.
And it's funny. So if you're going to pair up with somebody, and I just always do better when a pair, don't necessarily get someone just like you. Get someone
Mm-hmm.
who maybe, if you're emotional, get an analytical partner. That
Mm-hmm.
way you'll appeal to more. And I think that's one of the reasons we've had more success from open houses, not only selling them, but getting, new buyer clients.
Yes, yes, that's awesome. That's great. So we want to be paired as often as possible anyway, and so that's a high level recommendation. Get somebody who can appeal to a different group. Okay, I think what Susan was trying to say earlier in regard to the Bold Trail tool was core property boost. And I think I shared with y'all, I got my campaign ended a few days ago, and I got like 9 leads for my $66 investment. That's a very low per cost lead, particularly on my listing and my geo farm. Um, so I recommend that. Take that one open house and then load it up with every efficiency and effectiveness tool there is, tons of signs, a partner with a different personality, a core property boost to get people there. Put a time sign in the yard about 5 days earlier that says open house this Saturday, 12 to 2, so that you're starting to build interest before the open house. Um, on the day of the open house that you're putting out your signs, consider putting a balloon on each one of those signs. Tie a balloon on there to draw more attention to it. If nothing else, if it doesn't drive traffic to your open house, what it's going to do is really impress the neighbors that you go all out for your seller clients. And so when they're thinking about selling, you're likely to get the call. They may even come over and chat with you at the open house. I held an open house 2 weeks ago, picked up 2 clients from that, 2 buyer clients who also had homes to sell. And one of them this week, I wrote an offer for and a listing agreement on her home. Okay, this was from an open house 2 weeks ago. Now the offer was not accepted, so now she's having second thoughts about listing. So we haven't put it on the market. We're holding, but I need to show her there are other homes that she can enjoy, and then we'll move forward. The other one, I showed them multiple properties this week. They didn't find their dream home, and so they're still in a holding pattern. But these are people I picked up at an open house that I'm actively engaged with. They want to move, and so we will find them the right house. Okay, I cannot believe it's 9:42 already. We're closing in on the end of this coaching call. We've been talking the whole time, really, about open houses as an efficient way to generate clients. I just want to throw out a couple other ideas for you about efficiency in your business. I have started using a transaction coordinator. I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. I'm using Michael Hughes. There's lots of other good ones, but I'm enjoying my relationship with him. And it has taken the most despised part of this business off my plate. So it's not just time, it's emotional angst. Even thinking about putting that thing in the MLS and loading it into SkySlope, now I get a smile in my heart just thinking about that I don't have to do that. I called Michael last night, said, Michael, I got another one. The listing docs are in SkySlope. Go get it. I'm texting you photos right now. And then I just started even voice texting him things to put in the listing description and some other issues. I can do that with no stress. Makes me happy, and he does all that grunt work. So it's an efficiency tool from multiple perspectives. If you grow your business to a certain point, you'll actually want to hire a virtual assistant, not just a transaction coordinator. And those can be obtained very inexpensively, 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week. Those have been my primary efficiency tools in terms of managing my transactions. But I'm just going to share one more thought, because this is the simplest thing I can tell you, but it has just saved me countless hours of work over the years. When I get a new client, I may not even have their property listed or shown them a home yet, I create a folder on my shared drive. And I have a master folder for every year. So this year it's 2025 real estate clients. Under that, I have a folder for every prospect that I'm engaged with. I may be creating a CMA for them, for example. So I'll put that into their folder. Or I may be putting together a showing schedule for them. I'll put that in the folder. So I'll have a record of homes that I've shown them. I start putting everything in there. When they give me a survey, it goes in there. All the listing documents go in there. All the offer documents go in there. The closed documents go in there. Copies of commission checks go in there. Everything in that one folder, which I save in the master folder as their last name dash address. So anytime, and I've had to go back years and pull a document for somebody, maybe for my CPA, maybe for the buyer who needs a document from their closing, for their CPA or whatever. I have everything there. I can find, literally going back to 2013, every document on every client by year. Boom, 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 boom. If you'll do that in your business, I'm telling you, it will create efficiencies and save you stress and provide a high level of service to your clients. SkySlope may go away. Back Agent went away, but I have all my docs in my shared drive and nobody can take them away from me. So always do that for yourself. And I saw several hands go up. Did somebody else want to jump in with a final word?
A question about transaction coordinator.
Yes, Alexa.
Get paid at closing, or do you have to pay them ahead of time?
So what Michael does, which I thought was very savvy on his part, because used to they were paid at closing, and if it didn't close, they didn't get paid. Now on a listing, once it goes active, he sends me part of the bill, and I pay him, and then the balance will be paid at closing. So
Is it like half and half?
they've smartened up a little bit. I think it's a little bit less upfront than half, maybe a third.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Billy?
Share his info if you can.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll send you his contact info.
Mine, I use Jennifer Rodriguez, been using her for almost 3 years now, and she still gets paid at closing.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
and we just work it out. When she does, if she writes a contract, we add a little on at closing. So,
yes.
so she's
Okay.
very reasonable.
Yeah.
Can you put her name on the chat too, if you don't mind, Billy?
Yeah.
On the chat.
Jennifer Rodriguez.
Yeah.
That
As
chat
long as I can find it.
up at the top there. And Star put something in there about Bling Me. Star, you want to tell us what that is?
Yeah, so I actually adopted Blink at EXPCon Vegas in 2022, I believe. And it's a great conversation starter. So, you guys, here's my business card. It's just a digital card. So, if you guys need me, you can contact me if you guys have any questions or need help with anything.
Okay, that's awesome. And I believe, Star, I was with you at that conference in Vegas in 2022. I remember a very nice dinner. Was that
Yes,
the
you
one?
was I was just thinking of you last night. Well, not last night, Wednesday night, because I had dinner with team and friends too. I was like, this remind me of Vegas when we was all sitting at dinner with the charcuterie board. But Frank spoke, you guys, and he told this great story about Whitney Houston. He had a dream.
I forgot about that. Yeah, there was like 2,000 or 3,000 people in the room. The Whitney Houston dream. I forgot all about that. Anyways, Jennifer Rodriguez, phone number is in the chat. It wasn't Whitney Houston. It was the gal who was married to the terrible guy who beat her up all the time.
Tina Turner.
Tina Turner. That's what it was. It was Tina Turner. Yeah, it was a great.
Tell us the story now. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
So I've forgotten a lot of the details, but I had this dream about Tina Turner on stage, and she was wearing the red sparkly mini skirt, looked great, sounded great, giving it everything she had. And I'm going to have to go back and listen to the speech for the punchline because it was pretty crazy. But I had this dream where she was performing. I know what it was. It's coming back to me now. She was in this room on the stage where I was speaking at the convention, and somehow the lights went up, and she looked out, and there was nobody there. Oh, I looked in my dream, I looked in and I saw Tina Turner on stage and nobody in the audience. Nobody had showed up for her concert. And then she performed and I mean killed it. If you've ever seen a Tina Turner live performance, man. And I mean, she acted like she was performing for millions. And somehow, this is the part that hasn't come back to me yet. I'm now on that stage in real life, giving my speech. And I couldn't see the audience because of the lights in my eyes, all the television lights and all of that. But I performed, even though I couldn't see anybody in the audience, I performed like Tina Turner. I acted like I was performing for an audience of millions. And I made some point about that, maybe always be on your best, always give it everything you've got. Doesn't matter if anybody sees you, anybody appreciates you. You go for it, because ultimately the audience that you're performing for is yourself. You have to know in your heart that you are all in. And if you're slacking, if you're cutting corners, if you're taking the easy way when the hard way is required, then you're going to doubt yourself. You'll lose confidence in yourself. So put on that red sparkle dress, even if it's only in your mind, and go out there and strut your stuff and give it everything you got. So that's probably a good way to close. Thank you for that memory, Star. I'm going to go back and find the video and let it talk to me again. But great to see all of you. Thank you for
Hey,
making this a
Frank.
priority. Yes, Cheryl or somebody.
No, it's Alexa.
Like,
So I use Hi Hello. I'm just using this as something that you guys can pick up on. It's free, and it's a digital card. It works
okay,
perfect.
like the
Um,
lady. So it's called Hi Hello.
yes, Hi Hello. So there's a free version, and I already have two cards on there, and they're both free, and they capture the person's information as well. So it works good for me. And I also use my magnets in my car. I didn't get to share, so I use my magnets, and I'm just hoping that one day some people are going to start calling.
Sounds good. Okay, thanks everybody. Appreciate you making this a priority. Call me before next Friday if you need me for anything. Happy to help. Danielle, let's connect today and see if there's a possibility of getting together this weekend. All right? Okay. God
All
bless
right.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.